This is Founders Games Metaverse Rounds.
Welcome to the Founders Games.
The biggest growth stage challenge on the planet with $6 million award. The collective intelligence of 200 late-stage VC investors evaluated over 3,000 applications of late-stage companies, and only 60 made it to this third round.
Thrilled to be here. So great to be a part of Webital.
All of them are superheroes. They are saving the future of the humankind by generating social and environmental impact through their exponentially growing innovative businesses.
They might have a real shot at becoming a major company.
Welcome to the better future. Founders Games starts now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Founders Games Metaverse Rounds. Please give a warm welcome to our host, Dr. Plamen Russev.
Hello and welcome to the Founders Games. What an amazing opportunity to celebrate the top of the entrepreneurship around the world, which is not only making phenomenal business success, but at the same time generating environmental and societal impact. And I have zero time to waste. That's why I'm inviting here my co-jury members from all around the world to join me here and to help me from now on score the 4 phenomenal startups, scale-ups who join us today for this edition of the Founders Games. And I have the pleasure to say hello to Dr. Michael Hoeck from Earlybird. Hello, Michael. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. And second, pleasure to say hi to Marie-Helene from Speedinvest. Hello, Marie. Nice to host you here in the virtual world. And Florian from Ananda Impact. Nice to see you, Florian. Thanks for joining us. And we have as a 4 jury member along with me, Thomas from Plug and Play. Thomas, pleasure. Nice to see you.
Today the jury shall be scoring the top of the top founders from the Cleantech vertical pitching on stage. We have 4 founders making it from over 3,000 participants.
The jury shall evaluate the top 4 companies in this vertical and shall select a winner against 6 equally important criteria. 1. Business model scalability, market adoption and timing. 2. Uniqueness of the idea. 3. Team capacity. 4. Funding and financing. 5. Leadership and personal qualities. And 6. Impact factor. Is the company generating social and environmental change? Each criteria brings up to 10 points, so the maximum a company can get from each jury member is 60 points. The winner today shall be the company with the highest score and shall advance to the semi-finals rounds. Only 5 of the semi-finalists shall reach to the final round and win a share of the $6 million award. Let the Founders Games begin.
And now, without further ado, let's see who is our first competitor in backstage.
Hi there, my name is Jurgen van Leeuwen. I'm the Global Head of Growth here at Early.
Great to have you with us. And it's time to give you some special superpowers in our metaverse. Now you have your avatar and we are all waiting for you.
Early's mission is to repair the air by building the single source of truth for air quality data globally.
"60 seconds, pitch starting now."
Thank you. So Early's mission is to repair the air, and by building the single source of truth for air quality on a global scale. Air pollution is the world's biggest killer. And the worst thing, it targets our most vulnerable in our society, the elderly and the young. And the worst thing about air pollution is it's invisible. As you can see, air pollution not only shortens lifespan, it shortens lifespan significantly by almost 3 years. The air pollution has a devastating effect, not only on premature death and on health, but also an economic devastating effect. And that's something that we want to tackle. And there's hope. We offer a unique end-to-end hardware-enabled SaaS solution, empowering governments, businesses and communities with decision-ready data to tackle air pollution. Our scalability is significant. We partner already with reputable companies such as JC&Co and have long-term business to government agreements with over 500 cities already, including Jakarta, Birmingham, London, and Warsaw. And from here, I'll take questions.
Ready for Q&A.
So in which customer segments and sectors do you actually see the biggest potential for your company?
We have identified our B2G, business to government, and actually the B2B2G space as the two target areas right now. We feel that the problem is owned by government, and therefore through legislation, we both feel that those are our target areas.
Maybe on that, how long is your average sales cycle? As we know, selling to governmental bodies can be very cumbersome, and how do you plan to shorten it?
So we have a number of partnerships as described. We'd like to piggyback on those who already have existing relationships, such as JC&Co, but we also preempt a lot of tenders with placing sensors where we know tenders are taking place. We do see a significant shorter time scale right now, from 6 to 9 months to almost 3 to 4 months right now in this space.
My question would be more on your unique value proposition. You know, this is quite a crowded space. You have Breezometer that just got acquired by Google for 200 million. How do you differentiate yourself?
The end-to-end solution part is really important. So we not only offer data, we also have the opportunity to take action immediately by installing sensors. We also have a consumer-facing app along with an analytics app. So we not only are able to target governments, we also target businesses and individuals as well.
So do you think you have the team and the resources to scale?
So one of our scale strategies is finding more partnerships and partners who already have existing B2G relationships. It's something that we have started exploring as we speak. But I think we have a solid team right now. What I'd love is additional marketing support, for example, and people that have relationships in B2G in certain countries that we haven't targeted as yet.
You have a SaaS model, but at the same time, a lot of hardware is involved with the sensors. How much of the current revenue is a recurring proportion, and how much is project revenue?
So our current MRR is $110,000. We aim to be by the end of the year at $150,000 MRR. Our hardware part is actually a minuscule part of the investment. So the money that we make is by offering the data services and the subscription that people have to our API, our customer-facing app. So the hardware part is actually a minor part of the revenue. That's one-off, and the rest is all recurring.
But how do you really influence the action behind it? Knowledge is one thing. The real impact really starts off when you do actions. Do you help your customers to do actions? What would be examples there? How do you really make sure the impact happens?
So what you see here is the city of Krakow, where we collaborated with for a number of years now. And to cut this page a little bit short, what you'll find is that with the support of our data, we enabled the city of Krakow to make their inner city fossil fuel free in terms of heating their houses. So this is a typical example of how we've helped the city creating effectively a green city center. And now our job is to also enable the surrounding municipalities to also transfer over to fossil fuels.
You're currently in an open call for a new investment round. What are you expecting from Founders Games and generally from the round? And can you share the valuation that you're looking at?
We are about to close the round, so we are at between 5.5 and 7.5, and an evaluation of 25 to 30. What we'd love for our new investors to bring on is connections, introductions, some shortcuts as well to people that are influencers in our space.
Sure.
I know it's an open door, but that's exactly what we're looking for.
Perfectly said. So 7 million out of up to 30 million valuation. Do you already have soft commitments on the go?
Yeah. So our commitment for the purpose of this call, we are 99% there with our round.
So what are the 1-2 KPIs you would use to measure your impact?
Our first KPI is seeing the actual change in behavior, that whether that's the city or the individuals in the city. That's one of the parts that we track. So, our, let's say our case study portfolio is growing extensively because we always want to be able to prove what we've done, what we've delivered with actually action. And that's something that I'd love to be able to share more with you on.
Great.
And our second KPI is more financial. The impact, what we try to do is make our data more accurate. And at the same time, we want to make our services more accessible by lowering down our costs.
I'd love to understand in this very competitive environment, where do you see your defensibility of the product? Is it more on the data collection and data analytics side, or more on the action and recommendation side?
I think at this moment in time, given the market does not necessarily understand air pollution as such, it's really important that we give ready to use and calibrated, understandable data. Make it palatable for children and elderly and everyone in itself. I think after that, defensibility will become around the insights and the recommendations and actually changing people's behavior around this.
The moment of truth. Direct feedback from the jury.
I think you're addressing a really significant problem, and the awareness is not there yet.
Correct.
Well, it's much better for CO2 and carbon, but I would hope that some regulation will give you some tailwinds in that respect in the very soon future. So I think it's great what you have built, the direction that you have built. From a VC perspective, I am worried simply because of the target segments of governments that you are approaching, and a bit of the defensibility in this very competitive environment. But nevertheless, congratulations.
Thank you. I agree with Marie. Congratulations. I think you're building a meaningful business, and in this sector, it takes a lot of endurance, of entrepreneurial endurance. So you and your team seem to have that. It also takes the right investor base with patience and the ability to build a long-lasting business. So I have a good impression.
I think the team got the ability to scale this business, and the time to market is really key right now. Although I also think that this market is super competitive. It's a hard market to scale, and this is due to the other players that are on the market, but also your type of customers that are governmental.
Thank you.
I think it's important to make sure those action, what I asked before, get really tangible, and you can communicate what's happening out of it. The one thing is the big data game, collecting data, and you can many in this environmental area, a lot of people do data collection say, oh, with the data I can do so much. You have to really make sure, and I'm sure that's your customer pitch, what are they going to do with it? That's going to need extra budgets. What they're going to, if they can even be able to do something with it, because changing cities and infrastructures is really hard. So that will be, the end of the day, very important.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Well, it's been a great first pitch today. Thanks for participating. I already see the numbers, and we will show you now only one of the jury scores, keeping the jury member anonymous. And wait till the end of this episode in order to see all the scores and the factors and how they were scored. Thank you so much to Jürgen. Now it's time to welcome our second participant. Let's see who is in the backstage.
Hi all, I'm Steve Meller. I'm the CEO and founder of CH4 Global, and we're here for impact.
Great to have you with us. That's the right place for impact. And here is your superpower avatar who will help you be even more impactful. We're all waiting for you downstairs.
CH4Global is producing agricultural products from land-based agriculture, delivering a gigaton reduction in greenhouse gas emissions.
60 seconds pitch starting now.
We call ourselves a climate tech company. We're focused on greenhouse gas reductions at gigaton scale. We leverage a very novel approach to aquaculture to grow a red seaweed species you can see there, to impact on agriculture, ruminants, cows birthing specifically, which is the single largest source of methane globally. We're all experiencing impact of climate change, and it's really only getting worse. The world has defined that we need to decrease fossil fuel use and greenhouse gases by 10% year on year to 2030. And so the United Nations made it very clear last year that methane, the second largest by concentration, is a key focus and a key goal for getting to impact at scale. The world's 1.5 billion cows are the largest source of methane, larger than from the oil and gas sector. We are the first company to create an end-to-end IP-protected commercial process. We've positioned our partners, our customers, who are large-scale corporations who live in the value chain. We have a seasoned leadership team that has hundreds of years of experience at building billion-dollar brands already today. But most importantly, what we do is impact 13 of the 17 SDG goals. Thank you very much. I'm happy to take questions.
Ready for Q&A.
How does your product actually work? Is it a supplement to cattle feed? Does it completely replace it? And how does it impact, assuming that the cattle eats it, how does it impact the digestion to get rid of methane?
It's a supplement given at less than 0.5% of total daily diet. So if a cow eats 10 kilos in a day, it's less than 50 grams. It's admixed into feed if they're beef feedlot. It's provided as a single dose in a sustained release way if it's a grazing cow, for example, in here. It simply enzymatically blocks the second to last step of methane production. When you block methane going out, you have all of that excess carbon and nitrogen that stays inside of the cow's stomach and is reconverted back into energy.
Can you give more information on the traditional margins in the cattle feed space, and why would farmers now pay such a price premium, and what is the price premium in the coming years?
In using the product, the farmer derives three sources of revenue or cost savings. There's a reduction in the carbon, which has an inherent value to it. There's an increase in the farm gate price of low carbon beef and low carbon milk. And then there's an increase in overall productivity of that animal, which can be up to 10 to 15%. The combination of all of those creates a net positive ROI for a farmer. They make money by using it.
When you grow the seaweed, I'm not an expert, but I think there's a rough understanding. Seaweed can be carbon capturing in general, but if you make huge farms of seaweed, has a negative effect on biodiversity in that area. Do you need like huge areas of ocean or whatever to grow that seaweed?
We grow them in controlled conditions in on-land farms, not in the ocean. The economics, there's too much variability in the ocean. We can control all of those conditions with the utmost level of precision on land. And that is one of the reasons why we've been able to drive costs down from a very low cost, efficient growing system and a processing one.
I was wondering, did you actually try some of it? I mean, you have an MVP ready. Do you have any feedback on that?
Yes, we've been running both trials and what I would call on-farm use and experience, trying to understand how farmers typically use feed and feed supplements today to ensure that what we provide fits into the existing habits and practices and still provides that benefit in here. So there are trials that validate the efficiency and efficacy, and there's these on-farm, call them experiences, that enable us to be able to provide a great product fit to the farmer's experience.
So you've been co-building all of this so far, and with how many farmers?
Only a small handful, because it's not about trying to create revenue today. It's trying to create the optimized product for the manufacturing for this next level of scale that we're building in 2023. So
no, of course,
it's a small number.
It's not, it's not a matter of generating revenue if you are co-building. It's more a matter of validating all of your assumptions
So we're validating that in dairy farms, in beef feedlot farms, and in grazing systems with farmers today.
Are you planning, and do you want to more or less do the production on your own as a company, or do you want to also license out the more or less methodology?
So we won't license, we will partner. That is our entire business model. To get to massive scale, you require partnerships, whether they be governments, corporations, or any level you choose to be able to do. All of our expansion plans are dependent on and based upon creating viable partnerships in either geographical regions or sector pieces within it. So,
and if I listened correctly, you said 13 of the 17 SDGs you addressed?
That is correct.
That is quite a lot usually when I hear about impact startups. So let me turn that around. Do you see any negative externalities in your business?
I don't, frankly, at the moment. The world requires us to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. It's not going to happen from carbon. It's not going to happen from fossil fuels.
It seems that you have been preparing a lot and you are waiting to start the engine right now. You have been co-building, you have a lot of partnerships with large institutions, but what's your plan as soon as you will be raising this money?
So we've already started the engine. We introduced the world's first commercial products into market in June, late June, early July of this year in Australia with a existing partner into a feedlot system in here. The scalability of what we build with the Series B money that we're raising collectively right now in the middle of that is going to enable us to build the next level of scale designed specifically for about 50,000 cattle. We have the existing partners for those that are lined up. And the validation of that allows us for the final piece, that is the financial validation of the model, profitability, and that leads to scalability. We have already aligned with two of the largest lenders on the planet who have set aside very large amounts of capital for any platforms for scaling of impact by 2030.
The moment of truth. Direct feedback from the jury.
Definitely in terms of impact, that sounds phenomenal. Since you're raising your B round right now, if I could suggest, I know it's a challenge while you're building such a new product, is to put some efforts for some real market validation, meaning revenue. Because at the round B and in the time we are now, globally, we as investors definitely look at some more proof of results and particularly market adoption.
Yes, I agree. So it would be great to see traction with the established players of the cattle industry. And I mean, it's a quite oligopolistic market out there. And if you can convince basically the key participants in the supply chain that your product is relevant, then that will make a very good investment case.
I think, your mission and vision are really great. The market is huge. I do think that this is not generally a VC case. I do understand why you need money, etc. But as my fellows were mentioning, we generally, try to get more market validation at that point.
And it's actually not the classic software, digital, rather quick in the market case. It's more like a life science. You have to invest a lot before, and then it's asset heavy in a certain way. So that's a different path, and then that's a little maybe even unusual for all of us, what we're usually looking at. The only additional comment I would add, I would really dig in, curious really on the scientific evidence, at the real net methane gas, and I'm sure you did a lot of research there, because that has to be there. That's the core benefit and the core revenue driver at the end, that you lower that methane, and I don't know if it's like 2%, 99%, and that has to be the strongest message. And if that sits, I think you will be quite successful. It's a huge topic, obviously.
We would agree. The data is very clear. We measure methane and carbon dioxide today. We're not we the company, we the planet. From a science standpoint, CO2 levels haven't budged downwards except for a small nudge down in COVID, which we've made back up. Methane levels are the ultimate independent validation that impact can happen at scale. And that'll be measured not by us, but by others.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. What is the current round size and what's the valuation you're looking at?
It's $85 million and it's a $200 million pre-money.
All right. It's a tough bet. Good luck. Thank you so much. And thank you, fellow jury members, for scoring also Steve and CH4 Global. We will show you now only one of the jury scores, keeping the jury member anonymous. Thank you so much. Now, it was a great presentation and great pitch, and we move to our third participant at the Founders Games today.
Hi, everyone. My name is Idosela. I'm the CEO and co-founder of ECOncrete, where we are changing the future of waterfronts worldwide.
Such a great pleasure to have you with us. It's time to give you your superpower avatar and to have you with us at the stage.
ECOncrete holds the 2022 European Patent Office Inventor Award and allows coastal and marine infrastructure to support a thriving marine ecosystem while improving their structural performance.
60 seconds pitch starting now.
50% of the world population resides along coastlines, and those 50% of the population is actually doubling their size twice faster than the rest of the population. And if you're coupling this, what we're experiencing now with climate change and increased prediction for sea level rise and increased storminess, we are now experiencing an era of what's called coastal hardening, where we're rebuilding our infrastructure in the waterfront to withstand the new forces that they need to go through, and you can see that worldwide. As a marine biologist that's focusing on this topic for the last 20 years, we've been again and again dealing with the same types or materials that are used in waterfronts, in ports, in bridge foundations, in waterfronts of city. And what's very unique when you analyze this market is that 70% of it is concrete based. And this material, which is responsible for 8% of global emission, is also associated with a negative impact on marine environment in our own waterfronts. Dominance of invasive species, very low biodiversity, and poor water quality. And what we do in ECOncrete is actually tackling this through the industry, providing tools to the industry to change this paradigm and start to get ecosystem services and harness the waterfronts for ecosystem services. Just the submerged concrete in the world this year was evaluated as 237 billion. And this number is going to rise significantly by 2027, just because of all the funding that is now going into infrastructure worldwide, starting from the US and also Southern Europe. We basically the only company that is in full compliance with the industry standard for marine and coastal construction, but at the same time prove scientifically based and proven ability to create ecological enhancement, and because of that, provide significant financial benefits to our clients. We have more than 40 projects worldwide, a very extensive IP portfolio. We've been nominated this year for Innovator of the Year award by the European Patent Office. What you're going to see here is applied by local workforce using local materials. We do not provide the concrete. We provide the technology that is applied into the local concrete in order to deal with ecological performance. We actually allow more organisms to settle, and by doing that, we increase biodiversity on waterfronts.
Ready for Q&A.
What are the main drivers for customers to adopt your solution? Because I mean, usually such projects have a really long lifetime to build something. And when is the moment that you would approach them, you know, and try to sell in?
We're selling top down. And if you look at our sales cycle in the past, it was very long. Now, as we're specified by the industry, and more sales cycles are going down, we are providing our benefit to the asset owner. And our cost benefit is arriving from reduced mitigation cost, shorter permitting process, and now also from blue carbon capture in the future.
How do your benefits rank among the pain points of your customers?
When you deal with those, a major hustle of those asset owners is making sure that they're in compliance with their regulatory requirement, and also with mitigation costs that are associated with the construction. We're saving money to all of our clients at the level of the project.
But can you explain me in 2 to 3 sentences the product, and then you mentioned the IP and patent behind it. What's really the uniqueness, and maybe really 2 to 3 sentences, what is the product at the end of the day?
Very simple. The product is powders that are added in very, very small quantities into the local concrete. And by doing that, we actually neutralize the concrete in terms of the ecological performance, and we neutralize the negative effect of the concrete. And on top of that, we have different agents that are applied on the surface of the mold. It's a system. Our patent is a system of how to promote biodiversity on concrete infrastructure.
But you do not reduce the carbon footprint of concrete, which is the biggest. I know there's the kind of biodiversity topic. I fully agree with that. That's great. But the concrete itself still has to be made, which is, I think, part of the big footprint.
On the contrary, because we can work with all the reduced concrete mixes, carbon reduced mixes, but at the same time, we are the only one who are addressing the infrastructure. And infrastructure is built for 60 to 120 years design life. And which means we are allowing an additional carbon sequestration, utilizing the surface of the concrete in the water.
What's your business model? How much it costs per kilos, for instance?
So we have a cost associated with the cubic meter of concrete. So we cost our services as a complete technology transfer per cubic meter of concrete, which means our clients are getting the materials, the transfer of knowledge, education of how to run their casting process, and also quality control for the entire process a cost per cubic meter of concrete. And the cost is depend on the size of the project. As the project become bigger, the cost per cubic meter goes down. By doing this, we are basically control the amount of materials that are passing from to the client and dictating the best way to integrate the technology into their casting process. And the client is basically for this cost getting a license and the service and the material for using the technology.
You're currently in a open round. You're looking for how much you look from Founders Games, how much in total, at what valuation?
The valuation at the moment is between 50 to 60 million. We're looking through funding of between 10 to 15. We already have 7 secured.
So is there a percentage of the green premium customers have to pay? Because usually they buy concrete and then they have to add costs like 10% more, or at the end of the day, is there some rough number?
We used to say when we push the technology forward that we work within the green construction standards. I can say now that we can get to numbers which are 2 and 3 times the cost of a cubic meter of standard concrete and be very cost effective to our client. We are not competing with a concrete. Our advantages are to the asset owner.
Who is your client? I mean, because is this the construction company or the concrete producer, or who is it?
Our selling process is to the asset owner. Our client that will cut the check for us will be the contractor that will win the bid, and they will get the technology. Our saving is to the asset owner. Port authorities, cities, states, asset owner of waterfronts, so from private islands to different refineries, etc. And very large sector is the offshore. We recommend technology by the Dutch government for construction in the North Sea, as well as the Nature Conservancy in the US.
The moment of truth. Direct feedback from the jury.
I like the business model. I like the product. Looks like you've done a lot of research and you have some IPs. Not sure how replicable what you're doing is because you're at the very beginning. But if it takes that much time to develop, that's a lot of time and a great market advantage.
Actually, I spoke to your co-founder maybe 3 years ago. So I'm glad to see all of the, what you have been achieving so far. Your tractions are great. The defensibility is strong. And I think you can continue growing and achieve your vision to make alternative concrete, let's say, more sustainable in a way. So this is definitely a huge market. Good job, and glad to have you here too.
I'm not so convinced on the business model. I think it's a very difficult one, also in the sales process, to make this scalable and big scale. I also see there might be vision in diversify the product and even, enter other categories that maybe have a more speedy transaction and turnaround.
Yes. First of all, I completely agree with you. Second, we're working with a very conservative industry. with long cycles. What happened is, as we've been more and more used and proved on the field, we're now being specified without us knowing about it. And we're going into large scale project on, it's not a linear growth. At 2020, our largest project was $1,000 US, and 2021, our largest project was 1.3 million. So the jump is according to the size of the project we're integrating.
So you definitely deserve to be here. You know, it's a big market challenge environmentally and globally. It's just, you know, for VCs, it's unusual in the environmental area. It's usually, this is more material science, and also, you know, really you have to work with concrete manufacturers, and it's very also certain way asset driven. So this is why the investor have to change their thinking there a little bit if they really want to be active in that area. And I think that's where you're doing quite a good job.
I think it's not necessarily the type of deals that we will look at the beginning, right? It's not the typical VC case, although I think that what they've been achieving and their vision and the tractions that they have is a really good sign so far. So I wish you the best of luck. And I think, you will have a lot of different types of investors that will start looking at you, and might be hard to pick. You need to think about that.
We are on a mission, and that's the reason we stepped out as marine biologists and went into the concrete industry, which we never liked, and I still don't like. We're dealing with concrete not because we like concrete, it's because concrete need to be changed, you know, and to be addressed. It's a long process. I'm very proud of our team and the way that we're pushing forward. And again, we're here for the long run, and our investors also understand that this is a different kind of investment.
Great, thank you so much. And we will show you now only one of the jury scores, keeping the jury member anonymous. Thank you so much. And it's time to see the fourth participant in today's Founders Games. Let's see who is in the backstage and hear more from him.
Hello, I'm Sergey Ogorodnov, founder and the CEO of London-based electricity data intelligence company, which is empowering people with their energy use.
Thank you so much, Sergey. And it's time for you to get your superpower avatar and join us at the Founders Game stage.
Voltaware is an electricity data intelligence company offering an energy insight platform to help people understand and reduce their energy use and costs.
60 seconds pitch starting now.
Imagine you've budgeted £100 on your monthly energy bill, but how will you cope when this moves to £100 a week? At Voltaware, we think that everyone, absolutely everyone, should have the tools to understand and optimize their energy use at home. That's why we've developed unique machine learning algorithms and appliance libraries based on smart metering data, and if not available, our own electricity sensors, just one per home, that breaks down energy bills down to each appliance in pounds and pence. So customers can cut waste by changing behavior or replacing inefficient appliances. We are now at the stage of scaling up through utilities, but also telecoms and banks. There is no better time to deploy our technology, which is why we're looking for strategic investors to accelerate our growth now. The time to act is today. Thank you.
Ready for Q&A.
Yes, thanks for the presentation. You really seem to solve a relevant problem for the industry. Can you tell us how you rank among your customers? Which pain points do you solve?
Yeah, we simply give the tool to the customer through utility apps, who can see what exactly they're using at the moment in real time in the house, whether or not they're inside or outside of the house. And that's a super powerful tool, which was ranked very high by all the customers. On average, they save 10% of their energy bill.
the revenues you generate, are these via utilities or via B2C customers, and how are they split?
So our business model is B2B2C. So we sell through utilities, and this is our main customer base. So before they feel it was a good to have product just to engage the customers due to the competition and to try to keep them inside the company rather than them going and switch to another energy provider. But now it's even more than that. It has become a necessity from the customer's standpoint, but also from the company's standpoint, because they're losing money in the energy market right now.
You're very dependent on the utilities to promote your services and also the customer engagement. So how can you assure that this is happening and influencing that the activity level of using your app is really there?
So first of all, we are fully white label. So it's not we promoting, it's they're promoting their customer experience. That's one. The second one, we used to have a 5-6 month cycle before this started, and now we have like 1-2 month cycle on some products, which is statistical monthly product, for example, which is really converting fast, and we have a multiple long-term contracts already in place with big utilities.
Is it for the energy providers a little bit a greenwashing thing to offer such a product, or at the end of the day, where they just put it in the market and are they really interested in making sure everyone saves energy? Is a little conflict.
First of all, they're competing for the end user. If you look at one of our customers, Octopus Energy in the UK, they had 0 customers 5 years ago. Now they have 4 million customers, and they won it. They won it through from British Gas, and other Npower and other companies incumbent in the UK who did nothing for their customers for a long time. So this is actually a main market, to generate revenue for the utilities, as we correctly pointed. But if you don't have customers, you don't generate any revenue. If you have less customers, you generate less. So it has always been, customer engagement has always been a necessary tool for them.
In starting this company a while ago, right, in 2014, you are backed by top CVCs in your industries, but your revenue, could be bigger. I would like to understand why.
So basically, although the company have been formed in 2014, we actually started doing the sensor to collect the data to understand what we need to actually disaggregate the load in 2015. So 16, 17 was a lot of experimentation around the data, what sensors should be getting, and making the sensor stable as a hardware. And then we found BP Ventures and First Imagine Ventures in 2018. That's where it really started, because we got funded, because we changed the approach. We started creating a library of appliance signatures, and vacuum cleaner, washing machine, etc. We have become a multi-model, multi-dimensional mathematical model in the cloud, and this was creating a long-term advantage. And it happened to be quite difficult job. So you need 3-4 years and actually specific knowledge, specific pilots to get to that stage. The market was not completely ready for this type of product back in 2018-19. So we signed the first big partnership actually during pandemic with Utilita Energy in the UK, which is serving 1 million customers. And that was a kind of a breakthrough of the product.
When did you have a fully dedicated team that was working on this product, and how long, as full-time people, it would have taken you to develop this technology before you put it into the market?
Okay, once we got, before 2018, for 3 years, it was funded just by myself.
Okay.
So it was a limited funding, but we had a stable hardware. We knew the signal we wanted to get, and we started building the basic library. So we were still relying on the customer to feed what appliances they just switched on and off, and people got not interested in the manual stuff. They said everything should be automatic. So that's where we went to BP Ventures and First Imagine. We got the money and we started building the library, because everything had to be automated. So we spent another 2.5 years, and now we have about 30 full-time people working on it, half of it data scientists with 3 PhDs in the house. and we are growing this thing further.
What's the average saving of, let's say, a household for people that you can achieve applying Voltaware?
So the average saving is about 10% from the ones who use the system, really. People who are not interested, they will not save. But people who look at the data and do one little thing, they already cut a lot of waste.
Do you have a statistic how many people actually use it? Is the 10% average, or is that the average of the real user and only maybe 10% take it serious?
So people who have the app from the utility provider, which has the screens and these alerts, on average, they use it twice a week. And from that cohort, the average saving is about 10%.
You're currently into an open round. You're looking at a valuation of 31 million.
Yeah, we already secured 2 million. We are looking for another 2 million. And there is a double plan. So if we get 2 million, we consolidate in Europe. This is our main market, UK and Europe. If we get the 3rd million, then we would go to US. Everything is pre-cooked there. There are 3 pilot customers waiting for us, including Duke Energy. And that would give us, quick boost into the American market.
The moment of truth. Direct feedback from the jury.
Sure. I think you are in a rather competitive environment. There is, of course, momentum due to the energy crisis, but this go-to-market via the utilities puts a lot of dependency on them and their activity level. So I think you should put in place certain mechanics in order to, activate and have a direct also connection to the end user and end customer.
That's a very good point. And actually, we have an idea with the UK government that we could launch an app where a smart meter can be connected to automatically once the customer associates us with the app. And then we can show the same screens directly. It's just, the level 1 support needs to be built, and that's investment. We have to balance whether we invest in B2B, C2C relationships more, or we go also B2C. By the way, we have a project with Octopus Energy, which is quasi B2C. So we sell the sensors directly to agile customers of Octopus, and they connect through their app and their dashboard in Octopus directly.
You don't look every week into your, you optimize maybe once a year your appliances. I don't think you do it every day. So how can you make money in the long term on the same customer? I'm sure you have some ideas, and that would be something I would look into more.
Totally agree with what the other panelists said. I'm impressed with all of the CVCs you managed to convince. That's really good. The time to market is really good as well. I think now the tractions need to follow, and this is a race because a lot of other players will be coming. And when it comes to defensibility, the defensibility of your solution, I think some other players that are injecting good money and that have been in the market can replicate what you've been doing. So it's just a matter of growing and fast, in my opinion.
It's like crazy. I basically agree with the others. So good luck, and it's a interesting project. And in the end, you say that the customer is king. So if you manage to sign all these interesting accounts, you're obviously doing something right.
All right. First of all, thank you. Stay with us, and we will show you now only one of the jury scores, keeping the jury member anonymous. Thank you. And now, the hour of truth. Let's have the numbers. And we have actually 2 winners. Congratulations. This has never happened before in Founders Games. And looking at the numbers, this is crazy amazing. Congratulations to Steve, and congratulations to the founders of Early. And of course, our representative here, having Jürgen with us. Congratulations, guys. Job well done. Now,
thank you so much.
I have no idea what we're doing now. It never happened before. The numbers are the same, 221 points for the 2 winners. And then we have 207 points for ECOncrete and 170 4 points for Voltaware. So from that point on, the only thing I can say is that both companies, Early and CH4 Global, will continue to the due diligence and will be eligible to continue for the semi-finals round. Congratulations, guys.
Thanks for being with us for the Cleantech Vertical. Make sure to catch all verticals to find out who the semi-finalists will be.